Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sonia. I am a life coach, registered nurse, and self-love advocate. I am also the host of Let the Ladies Speak podcast, where we have healthy discussions about life, love, dating, and relationships while promoting self-love, healing, and healthy dating. Here tonight, we're going to talk about Married at First Sight. I am late and behind. I understand and thank you for your patience. We're going to talk about 14 to 15 together. I'm just going to talk about what I noticed and what I've seen with the couples. If you've been to my channel before, or if you are a subscriber, you know I kind of do more of an analysis than a review. So that's what we're going to do tonight. But first and foremost, if you attended or replayed my live that I did, I appreciate you so much for showing up. I appreciate you for watching it on replay. I appreciate you guys' participation. I did a live, I did a ladies panel, and we talked about singleness, and there's more like that to come to my channel. So I want to say I thank you and I appreciate you for being there, for participating, and for watching. Thank you so much. If you are new to my channel, welcome to my channel. I'm so happy to have you here. We are happy to have you here because we're a family. If you're just passing through, thank you so much for passing through. Please consider subscribing to the channel if you like the content. If you are coming back, welcome back, family. It's so good to see you. I miss you, and I hope to see you at the next live if I did not see you this time. All right, let's get into Married at First Sight season 14. We're going to talk about episodes 14 and 15. First up, we have Steve and Noe, and Noe has had some breakthroughs these past two episodes, and I'm going to say that I am proud of her. Noe is quite the challenge because she is living, in my opinion, behind so much fear and in some unhealed spaces and places. I want to also commend Steve because Steve has boundaries and he wants to ensure that his boundaries are being met. And he's basically letting Noe know, if you can't respect these boundaries, we can't move forward. He's making it very clear as to what he wants. And he's referring to the social media. Noe tends to take her feelings and emotions to social media. Steve doesn't like that. He'd rather they handle their issues in-house. He's spoken to her about that. And so he's like really wanting her to understand that if this is something that you can't do, we probably can't be together, because that's a problem for me. Also, living together, we find out that Noe doesn't want to live together. We found out that Noe doesn't want to live together after decision day, and Steve says that's not the marriage that I want. Now, some people may feel like that's a bit much, but no, it's clear. This is what I want. These are my expectations for my relationship, and this is what I want for my marriage. And I need to know that you're on board with it or not. You know, people have a right to what they want and their desire. No one has to change for another person. You can change because you're inspired by another person, but you don't have to change for another person. You as an individual, though, have to decide, is that okay with you? But Steve setting those boundaries has brought Noe to the place where she is finally opening up. And Noe has basically let us know a lot of things. That she is afraid of losing her independence. She is afraid of losing her place. That's a sense of security. And what I have to say is, I really believe right now it's just time for Noe to heal and mourn her past relationships, to deal with some of the things in her childhood, and to heal from those places so that she is more willing to be available in a relationship. That's just my thought. I don't think right now marriage is right for her, but it's too late. They're already married, and if Steve and her wants to work this out, they can work it out. But I really, really, really would like to see Noe get some therapy and get some help with unpacking those emotions and feelings from childhood and her past relationship. To me, it looks like she has a lot of mourning to do, and I don't think she's gotten through all of her stages. I think she's still at the angry stage because she suppresses so much. We also learn, because this episode 15, they go back to their childhood homes, or In her case, the dance studio where she used to learn to express herself because she wasn't able to express herself in her childhood. And people don't really understand how much that impacts a person. A person never gets to communicate their fears. They don't get to process through things. They don't get to express their emotions. So they bottle all of these emotions and feelings up and never learn how to deal with them or communicate them. And it makes it difficult to operate in a healthy relationship. And that's basically what we're seeing here. But Noise opening up, and I'm proud of her for it. I'm going to commend her once again. She says that, she was punished for speaking up, and then she also felt like a burden to her family because they had to work so hard to take care of her. And then also just that her parents had to work hard, and she just pretty much had to be with herself. And so the dance studio is a place where she was able to express herself, but she never used that muscle, or she never used the muscle of communication. She's never been able to really communicate. And that is something that Steve is saying, we need to be able to do in a healthy manner in our relationship. So instead of doing it in the passive aggressive way that she's gotten used to, Steve wants her to verbalize. And Noe did say eventually she got around to being able to say, right now I'm angry, which sometimes that's all we need. Sometimes we just need our person to kind of let us know what is happening. Even if you need a moment, it's okay to say you need a moment, but say you need a moment instead of acting out, right? She's able to say, I can't express myself right now. I need to process things. That's okay, right? You should give your partner space for that. It's when you're passive aggressive, when you're angry, when you're abusive, when you're neglectful, and when you're doing harm to yourself or your partner, that makes it harder to be in a healthy relationship with someone when you can't communicate properly. So I'm happy to see and hear that that's what Noe's done. I'm really proud of her for opening up. They also had a meeting with Dr. Pepper, and Dr. Pepper essentially said that, her and her husband live separately, which that's two different things. When Dr. Pepper tried to point that out, she was like, but this is my second marriage and we don't have children. Stephen Noy wants children. Having children in a separate household but married is unnecessary confusion. And again, it's not what Steve wants. So Steve has a decision to make, and so does Noy. Do I want to stay in this marriage and live separately, or do I want to live together? Steve wants to live with his wife, and he's making it known, I'm not living separately from my wife. So they may or may not make it. I'm pretty sure they'll probably say yes on decision day though. But I really would like for Noy to work on just herself for right now. And they can take their time. They don't have to rush it. They can say no on decision day, continue to court, and if they decide they want to be married, then they can marry. This is still fresh and new. They don't really know one another. And there's so much to unpack between the two of them, especially Noy. So another thing that I loved is that we went to go see Steve's home, and you can see the contrast between the two upbringing. And Noy made the statement that, she was a little more mature. She had to grow up faster than Steve, is what she said, which isn't true because Steve has a stuffed animal. The stuffed animal is at his mother's house in his old room that's not the kid's room. It's not like he has the stuffed animal with him. And Steve is mature, but you really get to see Steve's creative side. His parents really foster an environment where he can be a kid, he can be himself, and he can be a creative. Now, I think that's more his mother than his father. I think his father probably worked a lot and Steve spent more time with his mom, but his mom really allowed Steve to have the environment to explore himself and to be creative. And I think that's why we see Steve where he is right now. Steve is like, I can do a lot of things and I love doing all the things. And I want the freedom of being able to do all the things that I love to do as far as being creative with his music or creating his apps or whatever it is that he wants to do. He does not want to live in a cage or a box because it makes someone else feel safe. And that is fair. It just may be that they're not right for one another. You have to look for the future. Are we right for one another in the future? That's the question they have to ask each other. And I don't think they have enough time, because I think they have one more week to make that decision. But it's up to them. We'll see. One thing I did want to go back to is at the table when Steve was basically saying, I'm extremely frustrated with this whole social media posting situation. And he kind of wanted help or validation or just some communication amongst the table. But Noi wanted to shut that down. She didn't want to have that conversation. He did ask permission, which I thought was good, but he was still trying to push it, I'm like, Steve, if you ask permission and she's telling you she doesn't want to talk about it at the table, you got to respect that. And he did, and they talked about it later, and he kind of acquiesced because he said, I don't want us to be in a bad mood later. So when they went to bed, he kind of just like, okay, we're going to let it go. Let's switch the sides of the bed. Let me make you happy. Now, I get what he's doing and I understand it. The one thing I will say though, Steve, is you got to be very careful with how you react, because you're always teaching a person how to treat you. And if you let a person know that if they pout enough, or if they're whatever the behavior is enough, you'll give them their way. You are letting them know that's how they can operate with you. So be mindful of that. Steve does know how to stand his ground and communicates his wants, needs, and desires, his likes and dislikes, though. So I don't think that's going to be an issue. He also sets boundaries, and he doesn't fold on his boundaries, but he's able to do things in a more gentle way. I also like that Steve now has a better understanding of Noi, and he is now empathizing with her and willing to be a little more, I think, open in some areas to make her more comfortable. So they're going to talk again next week about this, about Steve not having a job, or the employee Steve, as Noi likes to say. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see how that plays out. I think this is kind of like, at this point, I don't know why this is still an argument, but we'll see. But anyway, it was nice to see Steve's childhood home and to see that he had so much stability, and you got to learn more about Steve. We also got to learn and understand more about the source of Noi's trauma, and just her being able to have a voice. And she may need some time to foster that voice, to heal from her past traumas, and really explore herself, find out who Noi is completely, and how Noi wants to live her life moving forward. So I feel like they can take their time. I don't feel like they need to rush. What are you guys' thoughts? So next up we have Mark and Lindsay, and I want to start with, I really, really feel bad for Mark. Mark is just having life thrown at him left and right and left, right? And he's actually handling it in stride, considering all things. You're on camera, you lost your job, you had bed bugs, you severed a relationship with someone you consider to be a good friend, you got married, your wife is basically, in my opinion, verbally and emotionally abusive. She's volatile. She emasculates this man. She belittles this man. She embarrasses this man on a constant basis. Now, I'm not saying Mark is an angel, okay? We are all imperfect, though. But Mark will be so much better in this relationship if she was healthy. And I think people don't understand that. One of the reasons why I structure my channel the way that I do, and I talk about things the way that I do, is over the years, what I have learned from my personal life, from my work life, from my studies and everything, is that individuals who don't get healed will ruin a good thing. You can have the perfect mate, but if you can't receive love, if you can't communicate, if you don't know how to operate in a healthy manner in a relationship, if you don't know how to honor and respect your partner, if you don't know how to communicate your emotions, if you don't know how to regulate yourself and self-correct yourself, if you don't know how to take feedback, if you don't know how to listen to your partner, if you're not willing to love your partner the way they need to be loved, all of these things causes people to lose their partners. and ruin great relationships or potential relationships. And I'm not even talking about just romantic relationships. I'm talking about work relationships. I'm talking about friendships. I'm talking about family. Poor behavior and the refusal to become a better person enables a lot of people from being able to move forward in life. You self-sabotage yourself. Lindsay does that well. She is in so much pain, and I feel for her because I know, I see, I understand, I empathize with her pain, but she refuses to look in the mirror, and no one else is requiring that of her either. Whenever someone comes and talk to Lindsay and Mark, they always tell Mark how he needs to do more, but no one require Lindsay to do better. No one says, Lindsay, you need to show up better. Lindsay, you need to self-correct. Lindsay, you need better coping skills. No one is doing that with Lindsay. They just keep telling Mark to do more. That's why Mark gives them that look all the time. Like, y'all don't understand. No one is listening to Mark. Everyone is siding with Lindsay. And I'm sure Lindsay has quite the story and everybody's feeling sorry for her. Let me tell you a lesson I had to learn. You can empathize with someone. You can sympathize with them. And you can have compassion for them. However, you still must require respect. You still must require boundaries. And you are in control of how people show up in your life. And if people can't show up in your life in a way that makes you feel safe and that you can enjoy, then you don't have to have that person in your life. And that is the bottom line. We have been taught the opposite, but that's not true, So with those two, I don't see them saying yes on decision day. In theory, I think they could make a great couple, but Lindsay's just not in a place right now. And I've been saying that since day one. Day one. Her coping skills are not good, and she's just not in a healthy space to be in a relationship. I feel bad for Mark. His cat is ill, and I think he had to put his cat down. I'm not sure what happened there or if we're going to find out more next week, but I feel bad for him because life is being thrown at him. And then again, you have Lindsay to deal with. Going back to the retreat, they're at the retreat and he called her hyper and she got offended. Now, she's called this man I don't know how many names and said I don't know how much. She's called him several names, and she's talked about him so disrespectfully in several places and spaces, but he called her hyper, and that's too much for her. My bottom line though with Lindsay and Mark is I feel like it doesn't matter what he does. Mark can literally do everything Lindsay wants and it won't be enough because Lindsay doesn't feel like she's worth it. These are Lindsay's insecurities that are showing up. These are her fears, her trauma, her past. All of these things are showing up and she's projecting them onto Mark and she's expecting that he's going to fix it and make it better. He can't do that. He can never do that. The internal pain, chaos, trauma, drama, everything that's going on within Lindsay, that is Lindsay's work to do. She has to do it. She has to stand in the mirror and go on that journey. Now, he will be a good person to love and support her through that. You can tell that Mark is very nurturing. When she got sick after, she said food, but I think maybe it was a little too much to drink. He was right on it. And he said, I'll be there for you. I don't think he has an issue with loving her. And like he told her when they talked to Dr. Pepper, I know how to love you. But Lindsay doesn't understand she's sabotaging this relationship herself. You're the one that's pushing this man away. You don't understand how your behavior is the reason for the ruin of your marriage and why he won't or can't allow you to be happy. So you think, because she thinks she can't be happy. She's miserable. But these are all Lindsay problems. That's the bottom line. I can go on and on about a lot of things, but at the end of the day, Lindsay has to heal. And she has a lot of healing to do. And she's going to sabotage this relationship. Next up, we have Jasmina and Mike. And I'm going to start with Mike. I am so proud of Mike. I am so proud. Mike made me put my foot in my mouth because I said I don't think in this time that he would be able to heal. I believe anyone can heal. You may not be 100%, but you can get to a safe, healthy place, right? I didn't think that that would happen within this show time, but he has proven me wrong, and I am fine with it. I am happy for him. Mike has been really working on himself. And it's so nice to see light in his eyes. It's so nice to see him smiling. And he is really, really trying. I really see him working on himself and this relationship. He's trying to teach her things. He's offering a safe space for her. He's letting her know that, you can trust me. And so he's working on rebuilding trust, which was lost early on, and which is really, really needed in all relationships, but in particular for someone like Jasmina. But he has been so supportive, so loving, so kind, and he's really taken responsibility and accountability for himself, and he's put action behind it and not just using the words like he was initially. He's actually being vulnerable. He's trying new things. He's joking around. He is listening to her. He's trying to show up for her the way that she needs him to. But he is also being very clear that I want a relationship that has another level of intimacy. I'm going to let her drive the car to get there. But if she doesn't, I can't say yes on decision day because I don't need a friend. I want a friend and a lover in my relationship. So he's very clear about what he wants and what his intentions are, but he is not operating out of a place of frustration, anger, resentment, or any of that. I am so proud of Mike. I really, really am. He's doing an awesome job. And I love that he's being a lot more vulnerable. He's sharing about himself. When Dr. Pepper came and talked to the both of them, and he said, when Dr. Pepper said, "What have you unlearned?" And he was able to articulate what he had to unlearn. And it was so awesome to see. I'm really proud of him. And he was saying how he can be basically an independent person, but he can be independent in his relationship. He can communicate his emotions and his feelings. Like I am super proud of Mike. Good job, Mike. Good job. Jasmina, on the other hand. Now, I did a video about Jasmina early on, and I talked about abandonment issues with that video and why that was going to be such a struggle with her being in a relationship. And she really, really has. Jasmina, again, just like Noy, just like Lindsay, everyone does, but some people have a higher degree of need. And Jasmina needs a lot of help. I understand why she is afraid to open up, and we got to see more of that when they went and did their letters. And we finally got to hear a little bit more about her in that, both of her parents left her. Her first stepmother was very cold for her. Like, nurturing a child and showing a child love and compassion early on really dictates who that person will become as an adult. A lot of sociopaths and psychopaths and narcissists are born out of neglect and abuse in those formative years. And Jasmina was pretty much ignored by her family. And then she had a teacher who kind of showed her the love that she wasn't getting at home. And that has helped her, and that has helped her become an educator. And she's an educator, again, in those formative years for other children. So I'm sure that she can be a help to them. But I still feel like she is not ready to take the leap. For a while, I was thinking, well, maybe she's just not that attracted to Mike. But I watch her lean into him and I watch how she looks at him. I really think that it may just be more fear than anything. I don't think she knows how to be intimate, period. I think intimacy is a huge struggle for her. Dr. Pepper said, "Oh, I see you guys being more intimate." I think they are being more compassionate towards one another. I think they're getting along, but I'm not sure that I see the intimacy there. Mike was on after party, and he pretty much said she's very made it very clear that she's not in a certain space, so he won't try to approach her in a sexual manner. And I get it, and I understand it, and I respect it, right? And so, he's not gonna make a move unless she makes a move. But I'm not sure that she's able to do that yet. I don't know that she's really ready to open up. I think there's a lot that we don't know about Jasmina, and a lot that she has to deal with. And I'm not sure that she's ready to let the walls down, or even go get that box out the closet, as I call it. I talked to Alicia. If you guys didn't see that video, we were talking about therapy. And I always relate, when I talk to clients, I relate some of your past issues as part of your house. You have a house, you have rooms that you frequent. You clean those rooms, you live in those rooms, you have your favorite rooms. And you have rooms or places and spaces in your house you don't go in that often. You have things there, but you don't go there that often. And then there's always an area that gets completely neglected. And in that area, you know, are things that you don't want to deal with, you don't want to see, you don't know what to do with. And it's growing spider webs, cobwebs, and dust, and it has just all this stuff on it. But you don't want to enter, you don't want to open that box, right? And I think Jasmina has that box. And in order for her to be okay with being close and intimate with someone, she's going to have to open that box. And that can be a painful process. And it takes some time. And it does take a therapist who understands you. And although I'm a coach and I promote coaching, I talk about therapy because when we talk about dealing with mental health issues, that is their wheelhouse. That's not my wheelhouse, right? My wheelhouse is to support you through it. Like, I've had clients where I have helped them stay in therapy, you know, but I'm not a therapist. So I don't cross that over for that reason. And I think she may have to see someone to deal with that so that she can be intimate. I think that's why she's had all of these long distance relationships. And I said that before. If you keep everybody at a distance, you don't have to worry about them leaving. When I did that video on, I don't remember, but it was one of the cast members on 13. And I talked about how people with abandonment issues have different ways of dealing with things, but the ultimate goal is control. And the same with abusers, but now I'm just talking about people with abandonment issues. So, because I don't want you to leave me, I'm going to handle this usually one of three ways. Either I'm going to try to control, maybe I was talking about Jose, I don't remember, but I'm going to try to control the narrative so everything could be exactly how I want it to be. Or I'm going to push you away, because if I push you away, then, I am controlling when you leave. So I can deal better with how you leave my life because I've pushed you out of my life, or I've kept you at arm's length. Or I'm going to do whatever you want me to do. No matter how bad you treat me, I'm going to stay because I don't want you to leave, So that's usually how people with abandonment, usually, not always, but that's usually how people with abandonment issues handle things. And I think Jasmina is one too. I'm going to keep you away. If I keep you at a distance, I don't have to worry about you leaving because I'm anticipating you leaving anyway, which is sad because now you're bringing your past into the present and it doesn't belong there. You learn your lessons from your past, but don't bring your past into the present. Bring the lessons, not the garbage. Leave the garbage, right? So I feel for her, and I hope she gets better. I do like that they've grown a bond. I believe what that medium said when the medium said that she probably will go on and she's going to regret later. I hope that doesn't happen to her. But I do believe that to be so because I think Jasmina is holding back and holding out but I do think that Mike will be good for her. He's really done a lot of work to show up for her, and I think he will be more empathetic and understanding of who she is as a woman and what she's been through. Like, he cried with her. I'm like, Mike has really run me over. Kimberly Reviews, your boo has run me over. But the sad part is that Jasmine is not ready yet. So, I wish the two of them the best, but I have enjoyed watching them two the past 2 weeks, and I'm really, really proud. I don't know if he's been seeking therapy outside of them, or if he's just been using some of the tools that they've given him, or he's just made up in his mind that I'm going to work on being better. But whatever it is, he's done it, and I'm proud of him. So that's it about the two. Next up, we have Olajuwon and Katina, and we learned a lot about them this episode. These 2 episodes. But number one, I want to speak to this real quickly. Did you see how excited Olajuwon got when Steve said he cooked 5 days a week? Olajuwon was like, really? Can I move in with you in Illinois? Because I want some food 5 days a week. But I thought that was cute. Anyway, they have 2 major issues. Number one, problem solving skills. I would really like for them to get tools to have better problem solving skills. The issue that they're having about the timeline with the baby, and this could be production, isn't that big of a deal. Okay? If you're saying you want to travel for 2 years, travel for 5 years. They are both still young. You can wait 5 years. Just negotiate. Let's try 4 to 5 years to have a baby in between time. We travel and live life. I get what Olajuwon is saying, which leads me to the other issue they have is communication. And this is mainly Olajuwon's issue. He does not know how to communicate his emotions, feelings, fears. He does not know how to really communicate well in general. Meaning, I don't think he knows how to properly get out what it is that he's trying to say. I don't think he has been allowed to really verbalize himself. And I don't know why, or he just wasn't corrected. His communication definitely needs some work. Because sometimes what he's saying makes sense and is true, but it's how he's saying it. And it comes across so horribly. Right? So he wants to travel in the next 2 years. And Katina is in school. But they both want children in 2 years. So how about go 4 to 5 years? That's an easy fix. What is the 2 years going to do? Why 2 years? Sometimes people come up with these timelines and ideas, and they're not necessarily realistic, and or they don't make a whole lot of sense, or they don't have to happen in that way. You can leave room for flexibility. You both agree that you want children. You guys are going to have children. They're both, 29, 30 years old. You can have children at 34, 35, or start trying. You can, take a year or so to travel. He's saying, how are you going to have kids and go to school? He doesn't want to do that. A better way for him to say that is, I am afraid that I won't be able to help you manage having, a child while you're in school, and I have to work full time as well. Like, there's just a way to say things. He doesn't know the alternate way to express himself. He just blurts out whatever he's feeling. So I really would love for him to get help in his communication skills. Another thing is her going back to school. And she's talking about going to nursing school. And he has concerns that she basically won't be present for him. They both acknowledge that he is a lot and he needs a lot. Katina needs to make sure that that's okay with her, because she said that, he was draining, which she looks tired. So is that okay with you, right? Do you want to live your life that way? That's the question Katina has to ask herself, number one. Number two, nursing school is a lot, and it's a valid question. Will you be able to handle being in a relationship with someone so needy, right? And so demanding of your time? and finish school. No one knows what nursing school is like when you get in it, but let me tell you something, nursing school is something else, okay? And you really need a great support system. So she needs to figure out if he's going to be the support system that she needs while she's in school. And then he wants to travel. He made that clear from the wedding day. He wants to travel. How do you guys do that? Y'all can travel in the summer if she's not in a year-round program, or when she has break. The only thing I feel like you need to do is push back when you guys decide to start trying for children. This relationship is new. So if you guys had just met on a regular basis, y'all will still be in the dating stages right now. So I don't know if this production that's making this such a big deal or if it's really a big deal, but between the two of them. But about 4 to 5 years to start trying to have kids gives you time to get to know one another, to travel, and for Katina to finish school and start her career. And by then, Katina could, if she makes it through nursing school, because nursing school is not for everybody. I'm here to tell you. I don't mean that to say that she can't make it. I'm saying if she does. People get in it and they are like, no. Believe me, I know. If she decides to make it, if she makes it through nursing school, she becomes a nurse, she will only have to work 2 or 3 days a week, So it'll be fine. But he has his fears, and instead of him being able to express his fears, he comes across like a bully, and that's just not good. You should be able to say, I have concerns. I want us to be able to travel. How can we make it so that we can travel? You can finish school and we can spend time getting to know each other before our kids come, so we both can be present for our children. That's a better way to say it. Not, I'm not going to do this by myself. He has a right to feel like, that's a lot for me to bear, for me to have it all on my shoulders while you're trying to make it through school. I'm sure he's scared that he won't be able to handle a baby, just like he's afraid that he can't cook. A lot of what Elijah does is the same thing that Lindsay does, which is projecting his insecurities and fears onto Katina. That's all. That's all this is. So he needs some help in those areas. But we learned that both of their parents unfortunately have cancer, and I'm guessing that is why they are not filming, because cancer, if they're getting chemo treatments and things like that, for one, that's private, okay? For two, it takes a toll on the body and a toll on the immune system, and you can't have a lot of people around you when you're getting chemo and radiation. So it's a safety concern, and I understand. But again, it's private and it's hard, and I understand why their mothers aren't around, and I'm happy that we got to get an understanding of that. And I also wish them very well, and I hope they both get well soon, because I know it's a lot. And so that just adds another layer to the two of them, that they are dealing with their parents battling cancer. And I loved when we went to Katina's church, and she basically explained, like, this is why I'm so calm and peaceful, because I know to pray. You gotta have an anchor. I say that all the time. You gotta have an anchor. Yourself as an anchor, positive, healthy friendships as an anchor, and your spirituality. Those are the triad, and your family. Okay. Again, healthy, loving, supportive family members. Those are great anchors to have in your life. And so I'm happy to know that she has that. And we learned that Elijah Wan actually did grow up in a single parent home. His dad came around on the weekends, and that basically, he was picked on and bullied a lot, and he struggles with that, and that's why he's so tough, because he came from a tough neighborhood. He just has to learn that his wife is his wife, and she's to be respected, honored, and cherished, not to be disrespected, bullied, and treated like the people treated you in your neighborhood. So he needs help in those areas. But yeah, so as far as the two of them goes, we all know that they're going to stay together. I've said before, again, they have a lot of growing pains to do. They need some mentorship on top of some additional help. And I really, really, really would like Elijah to get some assistance in learning how to communicate. And one thing I'll say about him is he keeps saying, like, we need guidance, we need help. he has a hard time taking that information in and knowing what to do with it, but he does seek the information. I think he does really want to know how to be a better person or how to be a better mate. So another thing that I wanted to point out that I actually agree with. Olajuwon said that if he was Katina, if Katina was to ever ask him what she thought he should do, he said he would tell her to just knock out school and say no on decision day. A person that really loves you really does want the best for you. Loving another person isn't about you. It is about you loving that person enough to want the best for them. And sometimes that means letting them go. Now, I know some people are going to think differently about that, but when you really do love and care for a person, you really do want them to be the best version of themselves. And if I can't help you do that, if I block you from becoming the best you, I'm not doing you any justice. I'm not helping you, and I'm not good for you. So when you really love someone, you want them to be the best them. You want them to thrive. You want them to grow. You want them to achieve their goals. And either I'm going to support you through it by your side or remove myself if I'm an obstacle so that you can be the best version of yourself. I think he could be a great support to her, but he knows that he is a lot. He knows that. And he doesn't know if he's going to be a distraction to her. So he's actually right. You know you're going to be a distraction. You know you require a lot. And you feel like if you need to do what you need to do so that you can be where you need to be in life, then go ahead and do it. That is right. So that's it for him. But like I said, he needs to, again, he has to look at himself in the mirror. He has to try to figure this out. I would love for him to get more mentorship as well as like some help, some therapy. That's all I have to say about Married at First Sight. Please let me know your thoughts below. Don't forget to thumbs up the video if you like the content. Leave me a comment below, and I will see you here next time. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and please don't forget to love yourself for who you are. Take care. Bye-bye.